And first at 5, a woman's emotional account of being raped recorded on a San Antonio police officer's body camera. It was played for a jury. As the trial of Anton Harris began, he is accused of being the medical center rapist.
The victim, a traveling nurse, one of a series of women sexually assaulted in the medical center between 2016 and 2017. Here's Paul Venema with a look at day one of Harris's trial.
This is video from SAPD officer Angela Murray's body cam as she responded to a call for a sexual assault at a medical center apartment complex. Her first contact, a nurse who told her she'd been raped and robbed just minutes earlier.
He said, "No, you're dead." And I said, "I have no cash. I only have a card." They said, "Take my card. Please just have a gun." And he had me at gunpoint. And he raped me.
Due to the nature of this case, we're not identifying the victim. 20-year-old Anton Harris, who was just 17 at the time, is accused of raping the woman and of several similar attacks in the medical center area in 2016 and 2017. Crystal Maltez was among the first witnesses in his trial. She was the victim's apartment complex neighbor and heard her scream for help.
It was just like a yelp, like a scream, and then it was like a shortened scream followed by a second scream.
And then a loud banging on her door.
She goes, "Please, I was raped." I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh my God." And at this point, she was standing in front of my door. I pulled her in and she was crying.
Security camera video from a nearby convenience store and DNA evidence led police to Harris 2 days later. This is Harris's second trip here to court in this case. Last summer, a plea bargain that called for a 40-year sentence was rejected by the judge, and this trial was ordered. Paul Venema, KSAT 12 News.
Slick roads said to be the cause of a deadly crash this morning. A man was killed after he crashed his car on Rosebach Parkway just before 7 o'clock this morning. We're still working to learn that man's name. Police say the driver was speeding before the crash. At some point, he lost control and hit a concrete column. The man had to be cut out of the car. He died at the scene. And slippery roads might also be what caused an 18-wheeler here to overturn in southeast Bexar County. The big rig tipped over at Old Corpus Christi and Richter Road shortly after 11 this morning. The sheriff's office says the trailer fell into a ditch and the truck started leaking oil, but no one was hurt.
We still don't know the name of a 19-year-old woman who was shot and killed at a southeast side apartment complex overnight. The woman was found around 1:30 this morning inside a bedroom at the Reserve at Pecan Valley Apartments on East South Cross. Police say 5 other people were in the apartment when she was shot. They told police a man who was in the room with the victim left the apartment and drove off shortly after the gunfire. The woman died at the hospital. Police have not said whether this is a case of murder or suicide or whether they've even found the weapon. It's also unclear if the man who is allegedly in the room has been questioned yet.
A woman accused of stabbing another woman to death now behind bars. New Braunfels police arrested Crystal Marie Madrigales this morning. They say that she had stabbed 32-year-old Iris Velasquez at a home on Allison Drive. Madrigales is from Alton, Texas. That's near McAllen. She faces a charge of first-degree felony murder.
The Bexar County Sheriff's Office on the hunt for 2 men wanted in connection with an aggravated assault that was caught on camera in broad daylight. Here's a clip of the surveillance the Sheriff's Office shared on Facebook. You can hear the shots. According to the Sheriff's Office, this happened back on January 12th at the Vista Point at Wild Pine Apartments out by Alamo Ranch Parkway and Loop 1604. You can see the men exit from an apartment building, walk up to a car in the parking lot. At one point, the man wearing black pulls out a gun and points it at the rear driver's side window. The driver ends up reversing into a parked car while trying to get away, and while driving off, the man with the gun fires at least 2 shots at the car. Both men are believed to be in their 20s. If you have any information, you're asked to call the Sheriff's Office at 210-335-6000. Crime Stoppers also offering a reward for information that leads to an arrest. That number to call, 210-224-STOP.
The Cibolo Police Department looking for a couple of thieves. The people that you see in this upcoming video are wanted for questioning, though. Cibolo police believe they might have been involved with a theft at the Burger King inside the Walmart on Cibolo Valley Drive and West Borgfeld Road. It happened back in April of 2019. If you recognize them, please call the Guadalupe County Crime Stoppers at 877-403-TIPS.
One nation under fire. In less than an hour, a vigil is set to begin at Ventura, the venue where two people were shot and killed during a concert Sunday night. That vigil is set to begin at 6 o'clock. 20-year-old Robert J. Martinez III and 25-year-old Alejandro Robles were fatally shot by a 19-year-old man who's been arrested. 5 others were wounded. The Texas Alcoholic and Beverage Commission is investigating whether Ventura took proper steps to protect patrons. They say it's a standard procedure. Tonight at 6, Stephanie Cerna talks with another local music venue owner about what steps he takes when it comes to security at small and large events.
A steady rainfall has moved out of town, but there's not much visibility left over despite the rain moving on out. Now we have the fog and areas of drizzle settling in. Can't see much there from our live cam overlooking the Alamo City. As for weather watchers, in terms of overall accumulations, we were for the most part under an inch, but still a good little soaking of rain. Take a look at these readings that we got in earlier today. Schertz, about 0.8 of an inch. Santa Maria, an exception at 1.1. Lakey, however, well, just 0.2 of an inch and really not all that much closer to the border. New Braunfels, Michael reporting in just under an inch along with Universal City. All right, this evening, drizzle, areas of fog, still damp out there. We'll talk about when the sun returns and even our next chance of rain coming up.
Thank you, Adam. A Defender's update tonight. Mayor Ron Nirenberg getting rid of possibly tainted contributions from the co-owners of a communications company at the center of a federal bribery investigation. Our Garrett Berger joins us now in studio. And Garrett, I guess this extends beyond just contributions, right?
Absolutely, Ursula. The federal investigation is focused on the city of San Angelo, around the San Angelo, where the former police chief is accused of taking money to push city officials toward contracts with a vendor identified by local media out there as Daly and Wells Communications. But Daly and Wells also has a massive contract here with the city, county, and CPS Energy, though the city has said it hasn't found any irregularities. Meanwhile, the defenders found Richard and Joanne Wells had spread well over $100,000 around Bexar County campaign war chests. The mayor's campaign says he received $6,000 from the couple in 2019. Asked about his plans for the money this afternoon, the mayor had this to say.
If any of those contributions turned out to be tainted by someone who was not engaged in, improper behavior, I'll do exactly what I've done in the past, which is donate those or return those.
Well, about an hour after he said that in our interview, Nirenberg's campaign consultant said the mayor would be donating the contributions to the battered women's shelter. The consultant, Kelton Morgan, also took the opportunity to take a shot at the mayor's last election opponent, too, saying the only thing illegal about their contributions to date is the $1,000 in over-limit contributions they contributed to former councilman Greg Brockhouse's mayoral campaign. We confirmed that Brockhouse's campaign received $1,500 in campaign contributions from each of the Wells during the same contribution cycle, putting them above the city's $1,000 per donor limit. We have reached out for comment, but did not hear back before airtime. Steve?
Thank you, Garrett. We turn now to Washington as President Donald Trump's impeachment trial continues this afternoon after a marathon debate over the ground rules. Opening statements are finally underway. ABC's Rachel Scott on Capitol Hill, tracking the latest.
Fresh off a nearly 13-hour, at times heated debate, the Democratic managers returned to the Senate chamber with their evidence in hand, opening their case against the president.
The president was the key player in the scheme. He personally asked a foreign government to investigate his opponent. These facts are not in dispute.
Democrats say the evidence is clear. The president abused his power and obstructed Congress. The president's defense disagrees.
We will challenge aggressively the case that they're putting forward based on what we're hearing.
Democrats still insist there is more to uncover. But their repeated attempts to subpoena witnesses and documents before today's opening statements failed.
The amendment is tabled. The amendment is tabled. The amendment is tabled.
That pivotal question over witnesses punted until both sides complete their opening statements.
I don't see how any senator, Democrat or Republican, could sit on the floor and hear Adam Schiff and not demand witnesses and documents.
Democrats are holding out hope that 4 Republican senators will vote across party lines to meet the simple majority threshold needed to subpoena witnesses. But other key Republicans already have their mind made up.
They don't care what they destroy in the process of trying to destroy Donald Trump. I do care.
As the trial unfolds, President Trump, 4,000 miles away in Davos, had impeachment on his mind, telling reporters he can do with or without witnesses.
I can live either way.
And all eyes will be on a group of moderate senators who have already proven to have some power in how this impeachment trial plays out. Republican Senator Susan Collins pushed for changes to allow existing evidence to be admitted, and the rules were revised. Rachel Scott, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Meantime, the Democratic nomination for president could come down to this: progressives versus moderates. According to new national polls released today, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders are standing out from the crowded pack. Nadia Ramirez in Washington to break down the numbers for us. Nadia?
After fending off attacks from Elizabeth Warren and Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders is now surging in the polls. He's nearly tied with Joe Biden. And political experts say winning Iowa is all about peaking at the right time.
2 candidates surge in the battle for the Democratic nomination: Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden. A new national CNN poll shows 27% of Democrat or Democratic-leaning voters select Sanders, while 24% back Biden. Factoring in the margin of error, there's no clear leader. A Monmouth University poll, also released Wednesday, shows Biden slightly ahead of Sanders. The numbers indicate both candidates breaking away from the packed field for now.
I'm running for president to basically restore the decency and honor of this country.
But the campaign has taken a more negative tone with the fight over Social Security.
Time and time again, Joe Biden has been clear in supporting cuts to Social Security.
Now Bernie's campaign has unleashed
the clash spilling out onto social media as the candidates blast their rivals' records.
Bernie's negative attacks won't change the truth. Joe Biden is still the strongest Democrat to beat Donald Trump.
So long as we're being honest about the votes that people cast, I think that's what politics is supposed to be about.
Another contender, Michael Bloomberg, is slowly gaining support after spending hundreds of millions of dollars on ads. The billionaire could reshape the race for the Democratic nomination.
If endorsements mean anything to voters, Joe Biden just secured an iron workers union that has 130,000 members. Meanwhile, Michael Bloomberg is touting that 11 mayors across the country now back him. In Washington, I'm Nadia Romero.